Whispers of the Moonlight. Characters. Aylar, a resilient young woman with a fierce spirit, determined to honor the memory of her lover, Lunar. She is an artist at heart, creating delicate pieces from found materials. Lunar, Aylar's lost love, the cheerful dreamer with an unwavering hope for a better life. Her past as a street vendor hides a depth of wisdom and kindness. Eleanor, the older woman who runs the shop beneath Aylar's apartment, serving as a motherly figure. She has a warm heart and a history of her own struggles. Maeve, a traveler Aylar meets on her journey, strong-willed and fiercely protective. She has a past of her own that intertwines with the struggle for freedom. The story. That day dawned with the skies dressed in vibrant hues of crimson and gold, and for a moment, Aylar felt the ache in her heart fade as she gazed at the horizon. Yet, the colors were mere shadows of the joy she used to find beside Lunar, the vibrant soul who brought laughter to her life. Memories flooded back, vibrant and vivid as they always were, refusing to fade even with the passage of time. Lunar's laugh, bright and melodic, had echoed against the morning light, giving her hope. But that hope had crumbled long ago, splintering in the wake of loss. Aylar absent-mindedly traced a heart in the warm sand with her foot, thinking of the way Lunar had challenged her to embrace happiness, even in the darkest of times. The promise had been a sacred bond between them: stay happy, keep dreaming, and never let the world crush your spirit. Yet here she stood, feeling anything but light. Every morning, they had slipped away to the lake shore, away from prying eyes. Aylar could still remember the way Lunar's golden brown eyes sparkled in the sunlight, the soft press of her lips against Aylar's. Their stolen moments were treasures, hidden from the Empire's cold grasp, until the day it all shattered. Aylar turned back to her mundane world, reflecting on her days struggling at the market, desperately selling her handcrafted goods to survive. Each coin felt heavy with loss, especially knowing that Lunar had been the one who always encouraged her to dream bigger than the grim reality surrounding them. A plan had been forged between them: escape the Empire's clutch, build a life where they could be free, but the dream had turned to ashes when Lunar was snatched away. Now, months later, the Empire had offered Aylar Lunar's job, with a demand: either accept it or share the same fate as her lover. She had worked her way through grief and despair to grasp onto the hope of freedom that had eluded them both. But standing on the shore, the moonlight reflecting on the water, Aylar felt her resolve wavering. The haunting memories were still so vivid, the pain so raw. What was a life without Lunar? Yet, a whisper in her heart urged her onward. The moon hung high that night, casting a silver shimmer over the lake, and with it, a fellow traveler approached. Maeve, with stormy eyes and a fierce demeanor, had crossed paths with Aylar at the market. She too longed for freedom, a shared understanding passing between them as they spoke. "Hey, you okay?" Maeve had asked softly, concern etched across her features. It's hard," Aylar admitted, her voice trembling. "I lost someone I wanted to escape with." Maeve had drawn closer, understanding flickering in her gaze. "We don't have to do this alone," she said, her voice steady like a lighthouse in the storm. "Let's escape together. We'll find a way." Aylar looked into Maeve's eyes, seeing the reflection of her own yearning. It struck something deep within her, a flicker of hope she thought long gone. "You really mean that?" "Absolutely." Maeve stepped forward, placing a hand on Aylar's shoulder. "The first step to freedom is believing it's possible. We'll make it, I promise." Taking a deep breath, Aylar dared to translate the dream into reality. Together, they connected their hopes and rallied the courage to leave the only life they had known. By the light of the moon, they gathered their meager belongings and set forth into the wilderness, the world before them a sprawling canvas waiting for paint. As they journeyed, sharing stories and laughter, Aylar felt the burdens of her past begin to lift. Maeve's fierce spirit encouraged her to embrace each moment, echoing Lunar's long-cherished sentiments. The more time they spent together, the more Aylar's heart began to open again, allowing light to seep back into the cracks of her broken soul. They forged a path through sunlit meadows, whispered secrets beneath the stars, and together fought against the harsh winds of the Empire's reach. Their bond grew deeper, reminiscent of what Aylar had once shared with Lunar but uniquely their own. In Maeve, she found strength, resilience, and the warmth of companionship. One fateful night, sitting by the crackling campfire with Maeve, Aylar gazed at the stars and felt Lunar's spirit watching over her. "I think she would want me to be happy again," as she whispered, half to herself. "Yes, she would," Maeve replied, her tone gentle but firm. "And so do I. You deserve happiness, Aylar. We both do." With the promise of a better tomorrow etched in their hearts, they embarked on the final stretch of their journey. As they crossed the border into lands unknown, Aylar felt the burden of her past begin to dissipate. The horizon opened up before them, wild and untamed, painting a new destiny where love could flourish and dreams could take flight. And when they stood beneath the full moon, its glow illuminating the new world around them, Aylar turned to Maeve, their hands intertwined, and smiled. Together, they carried the whispers of the moonlight, a testament to both lost love and newfound hope, reminders that life would continue, forever intertwined with the stories of the heart that never truly leave. As they trudged farther into the wild, the new landscape unfolded around Aylar and Maeve like a tapestry woven from dreams and whispered promises. The tall trees towered majestically above them, their leaves shimmering hints of emerald under the sun's warm embrace. The air was rich with the scent of pine and earth, a stark contrast to the stale confines they had fled. For the first time in what felt like ages, Aylar allowed herself to breathe deeply. A feeling of freedom thrummed in her veins, a melody of hope that played softly just beneath the surface. She looked over at Maeve, who walked with a determined stride, her spirit unyielding and fierce. There was something invigorating about the woman beside her, an energy that effortlessly drew Aylar in. "We should find a place to settle for the night," Maeve suggested as they reached a gentle stream, its waters sparkling like diamonds under the fading sunlight. "This spot looks perfect." Aylar nodded appreciatively, her heart swelling with gratitude. Maeve had been a balm for her wounded soul, reminding Aylar that joy was still possible. Setting down their packs, they began to set up camp, the weight of their previous lives gradually lifting with each shared laugh and soft glance. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in deep purples and oranges, they sat by the fire, its warm glow flickering shadows against their faces. Aylar, feeling emboldened by the day's adventures, took a chance. "Tell me about your life before this. What made you want to leave?" Maeve's eyes glimmered with the reflection of the flames, and for a moment, Aylar could see the shadows of her past haunting her gaze. "I grew up in a small village far from here. We struggled under the Empire's rule, just like you, I suppose. They took my brother away when he tried to stand up for our people. I always wanted to fight back, but I didn't know how. So, I left." Aylar's heart ached for Maeve, a shared understanding blossoming between them. "I'm so sorry. I wish I could have fought too, for Lunar." Maeve reached out, squeezing Aylar's hand gently. "You did fight, Aylar. You survived, and that's just as important. We're living the fight now. This is our chance to create something new." Aylar felt warmth spread through her at Maeve's words, and the small gesture of solidarity stirred something deep within her. She leaned closer, emboldened by the flickering light of the fire and the connection they had forged so quickly. "You make me feel stronger," as she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "And you make me feel alive," Maeve replied, her demeanor turning serious for a heartbeat, vulnerability spilling forth from her dark eyes. I didn't think I would find anyone like you out here. Someone who understands what it means to lose everything. Aylar held her gaze, feeling the weight of their shared experiences drawing them closer. I'm glad we found each other. As the night unfolded, they talked and joked, their laughter mingling with the gentle sound of the stream flowing nearby. Aylar found comfort in Maeve's presence, her heart beginning to thaw against the chill of loneliness that had gripped her for far too long. Eventually, as the moon ascended high into the sky, casting its silvery embrace over the night, the conversation shifted to their dreams. What do you want in this new life? Maeve asked thoughtfully, turning serious once more. I want to be free, truly free, Aylar replied, her voice filled with conviction. But more than that, I want to honor Lunar. I want to create. I want to make art that reflects the beauty of this world and tells stories of those we've lost. I want to build a life where love flourishes without fear. Maeve nodded, a small smile breaking through. Then let's build that life together. I want to fight for those who can't, and help people like us. We can find a place where love is celebrated, not hidden away. Underneath the stars, as they shared their vulnerabilities and hopes, Aylar felt a flicker of something new igniting between them, a shared dream that knew no bounds. A week passed, each day filled with exploration and laughter. The connection between Aylar and Maeve blossomed into a friendship, deepening into something more nuanced and powerful. They took long walks through the valleys, climbing hills, and exploring hidden nooks of the wilderness that felt untouched by the Empire's reach. One sunny afternoon, they stumbled upon an abandoned cottage, nestled among the trees. It exuded a sense of history, the weathered wood and wildflowers framing it like a painting. This could be our place, Aylar suggested, her heart racing at the thought of putting down roots. With Maeve by her side, they set to work restoring the cottage. Their hands worked in tandem, filling the air with laughter and camaraderie. Aylar decorated the walls with wildflowers she painstakingly collected, transforming the space into a vibrant reminder of the life she wanted to create. As they transformed the space, they also transformed each other. Aylar found herself smiling more often, the joy of creation igniting a fire within her. Maeve became her anchor, fiercely protecting their newfound sanctuary and nurturing Aylar's dreams. They shared whispers under the stars and painted their dreams in broad strokes, reflecting hopes both fragile and strong. One evening, as the sun sank low and painted the clouds in shades of raspberry and lavender, they sat together on the front porch, the cool breeze rustling the leaves around them. Aylar, Maeve began, her voice soft and contemplative. I know I've been the strong one, but sometimes I feel scared too. I've never done this before, built a life, I mean. What if we're not ready? Aylar turned to Maeve, steadying her gaze. We've already shown we can face the unknown. We fought to escape the oppression. We've built a home together. That says a lot about us. But what if we fail? Maeve pressed, vulnerability creeping into her tone. Then we try again, Aylar affirmed, her voice unwavering. We're not running away from something anymore. We're running toward something. In that moment, the silence that followed was filled with a deep understanding, a shared resolve to embrace the uncertainty of the future. Maeve leaned closer, their foreheads touching as they shared a breath, eyes locked in an intense silence. The world fell away, leaving only the warmth of their connection, a spark turning into a flame. I think I might love you, Maeve confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. The admission lingered in the air, thick with promise and fragile hope. Aylar's heart swelled at those words, echoes of a feeling she'd been nurturing in the core of her being. I think I love you too, as she replied, breathless. Their laughter spilled into the night, punctuated with soft kisses beneath the stars, a testament to the life they were carving out of heartache and dreams. There was beauty in the uncertainty, in finding love amidst their struggles. And so, they began planning not just for survival, but for a life filled with love, laughter, and purpose. Each day became a brushstroke on the canvas of their shared destiny. Under the moonlight, amid the rustling leaves and whispers of new beginnings, Aylar and Maeve danced toward a radiant future, hand in hand, bound by the dreams they would chase together. As the days turned into weeks, the small cottage became a home, every corner infused with the vibrant energy of Aylar and Maeve's newfound life together. They cultivated a garden filled with herbs and wildflowers, their laughter mingling with the melody of birds singing overhead. Each morning, they would rise early, their routine embraced by the warmth of the sun, sharing breakfast over soft smiles and shared glances that spoke volumes. Aylar found herself more inspired than ever. The beauty of their surroundings poured into her art. She sketched scenes of the countryside that danced in her mind, capturing the essence of freedom and the love blooming between them. Maeve often watched her work, perched on a nearby stump, a small smile playing on her lips, her heart swelling with pride. One afternoon, as Aylar painted strokes of lavender and emerald onto the canvas, Maeve approached her with a determined look in her eyes. "I've been thinking," as she began, breaking the serene silence. Aylar set down her brush, intrigued. "About what?" "What if we helped others like us? There are so many people suffering under the Empire's rule. We could start something here, a refuge, a safe haven." Maeve's passion was palpable, her gaze intense. Aylar considered the idea, her heart racing at the thought of opening their home to those in need. "You mean, like a sanctuary? I love that idea. We could create a space where people can feel safe, where they can be themselves without fear." It was a bold plan, but Aylar felt a spark of excitement lighting up within her. They drew sketches together, one side of the canvas blossoming with the vision of a community where love and acceptance reigned. They would expand their garden, adding sleeping quarters in the cottage and transforming the land into a sanctuary that extended beyond their own needs. As the outline of their dream took shape, they knew they needed support. Both women began spreading the message through discreet channels, utilizing their previous connections to communicate with others who longed for freedom and safety. They called themselves The Haven, a place that could be home to all who were seeking refuge. Weeks passed, and their efforts bore fruit. People began arriving, a family of 3 escaping from the shackles of the Empire, a young artist seeking a safe space to create, and a healer who had lost everything. The cottage slowly transformed into a bustling sanctuary. People came with their stories of loss and hope, sharing meals and laughter that echoed in the evenings by the fire. One night, as they sat around the flickering flames, Maeve raised her glass, an infectious smile lighting up her face. "To the Haven. May be a place of healing, love, and new beginnings." "Cheers," they all responded in unison, clinking their glasses and letting the nights of oppression slip further away from their hearts. But it wasn't all idyllic. Shadows lurked. The Empire's reach was strong, and whispers of their sanctuary reached dangerous ears. Fear occasionally dappled their hearts, especially during the quiet moments late at night when the fire crackled loudly against the unsettling stillness. On one such night, Aylar and May found themselves sitting close together outside, gazing up at the vast expanse of stars above. "What if they find us?" Maeve murmured, tracing a finger along the constellation-studded sky. "What if they come here looking for people?" Aylar squeezed Maeve's hand tightly, feeling her own heart race. "We have to believe in the strength of our community. But we should also prepare. We can create contingencies, places to hide, and escape routes." Their shared commitment only deepened in the face of adversity, making the bond between them more robust. They held each other close, knowing that no matter what happened, they would face it together, united in love and purpose. Weeks passed before the Empire's forces made their presence known. One crisp morning, as dew glistened on the grass, Aylar felt a shift in the atmosphere. Tension hung heavy in the air, and her intuition urged her to be prepared. They had all congregated in the common area when Maeve burst through the door, her expression urgent. "They're coming. A patrol is heading this way." The group tensed, fear flickering in their eyes, but Aylar stood firm. "We need to act quickly. Maeve, gather everyone. I'll lead the children and families to the back of the cottage. There's a clearing where we can wait until the patrol passes." She moved with purpose, her heart pounding as she ushered the frightened families to follow her. Maeve remained behind, shaking with adrenaline as she organized the others to remain quiet and ready. Within moments, Aylar led the group through the underbrush, her instincts sharp and alert. The sounds of footsteps and voices grew louder as they reached the clearing, and she motioned for everyone to crouch low. "It's all right," Aylar whispered, her own heart racing as she scanned the trees for signs of danger. "We're going to be safe." As shadows crossed the sunlight above, Aylar's breath hitched. A patrol came into view, their armor glinting ominously. The soldiers communicated with hushed urgency, moving toward the cottage, seemingly intent on discovering what lay within. Holding tightly to the children nearby, Aylar cleared her mind, focusing on the safety of her newfound family. "We have to be brave," she whispered. "Trust that we will find a way." Minutes stretched into eternity as they waited silently, the tension crackling in the air. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the patrol moved on. Aylar exhaled a shaky breath, relief flooding her senses. But Maeve's voice broke through the moment, urgent and fierce. "We can't stay here. We need to warn the others and find a better place to hide." Aylar nodded resolutely, knowing it was time for another plan. "We'll split into groups, move to different locations to assess. If we can gather as many people as possible and find safe shelter in the woods, we'll regroup at the old cave by the mountain." With a shared understanding, they all moved quickly, the conversation subdued but their spirits resilient. It wouldn't be easy, but Aylar's heart surged with hope, the love of her found family fueling her determination. In the days that followed, they evaded the Empire, their movements quick and calculated. Although the challenges were daunting, Aylar found solace in Maeve's presence, their connection deepening even under the cloak of danger. They became each other's anchors in the storms of uncertainty, granting each other strength when fears threatened to overwhelm. Even amidst the chaos, love blossomed. Laughter accompanied their shared struggles, whispered dreams quietly igniting even in the depths of fear. Within the shelter of the mountain cave, they forged plans together, laying the groundwork for a future where the ideals of the haven could flourish without fear of reprisal. Aylar often stole glances at Maeve, the undeniable spark between them shining brighter. With each passing day, their shared adventures turned into cherished moments filled with tenderness and warmth, solidifying a profound bond that neither of them had expected to find amidst all their turmoil. One evening by the flickering firelight, taking a break from drawing maps and planning future moves, Aylar turned to Maeve, their eyes locking in that familiar way. "Do you ever think about what happens next? What life will be like when we're finally safe?" Maeve's gaze softened, and she smiled, a hint of mischief dancing in her eyes. "I think we should create something beautiful. Not just for us, but for everyone who has suffered. We could turn the haven into a symbol of freedom." Aylar grinned, tears of hope and joy threatening to spill over. "Yes. A place where everyone is welcome, and art and love thrive." As they mulled over the visions they held for the future, surrounded by their chosen family who fought for the same cause, Aylar knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would rise together, hand in hand, carving out a brighter future for themselves and those who had come to rely on them. Their pasts may have been steeped in pain, but here, In the heart of the wilderness, hope and love had ignited, an unquenchable fire that would guide them onward. Aylar reached for Maeve's hand, intertwining their fingers under the starlit sky, letting the warmth of their grasp echo the strength of their resolve. This was not just survival. It was the beginning of a perpetual chase for freedom. Together, a life waiting to be painted under the moonlight. To be continued.